They expanded manifold. In fact, lots of new companies made their home in Hyderabad in the last 2 years. In fact, one piece of information will really kind of gladden our hearts. In the entire country, in the last financial year, 450,000 new IT jobs were created, of which 150,000 were contributed by Hyderabad alone. So the confidence you gave to your headquarters, to your leaders, some of your headquarters are not in India, you are US based or Europe based, but the sense of confidence that you gave to them that Hyderabad is the right place to grow, expand, invest afresh, that really has borne fruit. And today, Hyderabad is talked about in a completely different league as compared to, let us say, a Bangalore or a Gurgaon or a Pune. And with your support, I do hope that we will maintain this momentum in the coming years also. The other important observation of mine is that, as you would know, as a government policy, we are very welcoming of emerging technologies. We have started embracing 8 kinds of new generation technologies, and in many of them, we are today the national role models. Again, I'm very happy and pleased to share that the private sector has supported our aspiration completely wholeheartedly. In fact, there are many companies who themselves have come forward and offered to us some solutions which typically they have implemented for enterprises, but they have seen some use case in government operations also, and voluntarily they have come forward and offered that solution to us. And as a matter of fact, we have rolled out many such solutions. In fact, some of you may be aware that just about 3 days ago, or on the 7th to be precise, we won a very prestigious national award. The Honorable President of India presented that award to us, which was for a solution related to agriculture, where we have used big data, IoT, etc., to do something very, very path-breaking. So on that count also, I'm very appreciative of the fact that industry is supporting our endeavors. And the last point which I would like to share is our endeavor to promote technology growth in smaller towns, district headquarters in Telangana. That is also bearing fruit. We are more than confident of achieving the targets which we had set in our second IT policy of creating new jobs, of creating new IT centers. And I would urge upon all of you to consider this possibility very, very closely. I know that many of you are in active discussions with us who are looking at exploring a smaller destination, but the experience of the last 4 or 5 years since IT companies started going to a smaller destination has been very positive. Earlier, there was a belief that smaller towns can only offer you this back-end kind of work, but that belief has been completely shattered. We have seen some very good product development, very good solution development also in these locations. And we'll be very grateful if the industry supports our endeavor to spread IT in all the towns of our state, so that the goals of digital Telangana are really materialized in the next few years. Once again, I really cherish the partnership, the support the industry has given to the government, and look forward to more productive and useful such interactions in the future also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ranjan. Now we have a very interesting event. On the new year, we have an interesting unveiling of a Gateway IT Park in Kondlakoya by KTR. May I request Mr. KTR to unveil the 3D image of Gateway IT Park, please. So, right here. It's a 3D image. Please, please. वहीं लगा वहीं लगा वहीं लगा That was lovely. That's called Gateway IT Park by KTR, K-I-T-E-A, in Kondlakoya. Many congratulations, KTR, and all the members of KTR. Many congratulations. The structure looks awesome. Thank you. Now the much awaited event of the day. May I request Mr. KTR to address the gathering, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Firstly, I thank you all for showing up on a Monday morning. I know Monday blues, as they call it. So thank you so much. And thank you for showing up ahead of time, actually. That was very impressive. Manisha Sabu, the president of ICIA, Sri Jayesh Ranjan Garu, principal secretary of IT and industry, Sri C.V. Anand Garu, commissioner of Hyderabad, commissioner of Cyberabad, who has just walked in, Stephen Ravindra Garu, Paikochindi. Commissioner of Rajkonda, Sri D.S. Chauhan Garu, Hyderabad Metro Rail MD, Sri N.V.S. Reddy Garu, KTR President Venkat Garu, and also to all the distinguished representatives of various enterprises of the IT sector, IT industry in Hyderabad. I thank you all for taking the time out. I thank you all for joining us this Monday morning. I'll be here for as long as I can, but unfortunately there has been a bereavement in the family, so the 12th day, the ceremonial thing is today, so I'll probably leave by 11:30, 11:45, and then I'll try and spend as much time, like I said. Firstly, nothing gives me more happiness or more pleasure than to see how the state of Telangana and the city of Hyderabad has grown, has prospered over the last 8.5, 9 years. And that's primarily because of industries, and that's primarily because of sectors such as IT, which have contributed in a great deal, in a great way, to the growth of the city, to the growth of our state, and of course, to the growth of the nation as well. As Manisha pointed out, 5 million, out of 5 million employees in the IT sector, nearly 1 million are actually from Hyderabad and Telangana. So I think that's a huge number. 20% of IT employees working currently in India being from Hyderabad is a great deal of, it's a matter of great deal of pride and happiness for all of us. I do remember back in 2014, on the 2nd of June, when I assumed office as the Minister for Information Technology, one of the first things, back then that I had discussed with my team was, how do we inspire confidence in the industry? How do we actually ensure that the stakeholder approach, as our government doing its own thing and working in a silos kind of a mode, how can we change that? So that's how the first interaction with ICIA happened. I think in the third week of June. In fact, it was on the last week of June, on 28th June 2014 in Taj Krishna. I have some very vivid and distinct memories because I was hopeful that at least 200 people will turn up, because I was new to the job. The industry was new to the government, new to me, new to everything. But to my surprise and to everybody's surprise, it was a packed hall. When we thought only 200 people would show up, more than 800 people showed up, and it was brimming to the capacity. That showed me, that actually helped me understand how concerned and how passionate this industry was about ensuring that Hyderabad grows and Hyderabad thrives in days to come. And that is exactly what I had assured on the 28th of June in 2014. I said, our commitment to this sector, our commitment to the city of Hyderabad, to the state of Telangana, to the entire IT industry is immense and full. And we have actually, in consultation with HICIA, in consultation with all the industry leaders, we had actually charted a course, and I believe that we've stayed true to the course. But I'll just tell you a few things, because I said, I told Manisha that my speech won't be long. I would rather have an interactive session. I think that's more important. But I do want to share a few things. When we started doing a SWOT of Hyderabad and where we are at with respect to IT, we understood that there are a few lacunas. One among which was, of course, the innovation ecosystem wasn't very robust. It was there, but it wasn't great. And then the other thing we also were, concerned about, the prior 5 years before 2014, there wasn't a stable government. A stable government and able leadership is, of course, important in inspiring confidence and attracting investments. That was missing. More importantly, of course, there are a lot of extraneous factors as well, beyond Hyderabad, beyond Telangana, and beyond the IT industry itself. There are a lot of extraneous factors, law and order, and the overall situation in the country, the overall economic scenario across the world, etc., etc. So we decided that, we'll do our part right, we'll get our act right, and then hope that everything else will fall in place. Accordingly, we went about a plan. We started by building out, India's largest technology incubator called as T-Hub. Now, T-Hub needs no introduction. Wherever I go in the world, people talk about T-Hub and how it is really shaped up to be a role model for the rest of the country, for many other states in the country. And also, when we speak to some other nations as well, they're very keen to explore. In fact, whenever we have diplomats from various parts of the world, in fact, even today, I think we have an American diplomat visiting us at T-Hub in the evening. So we've had hundreds of diplomats visit us, and each of them, when they came in, they were mighty surprised with what this government in India, within a small state, has been able to do, to spur and to actually enable more innovation and to bring about a stakeholder approach in this innovation piece. So we are very proud of what has happened, but I'm even more proud and even more delighted of what happened after T-Hub. Today we have a V-Hub, a Women Entrepreneurs Hub. We also have TSIC, the Telangana State Innovation Cell. We also have a Water and Sanitation Hub. I don't know how many of you know that, but we also have created an S-Hub, a Water and Sanitation Hub. We also are creating in the process, in fact, it's under construction. A B-Hub is under construction for biotech and life sciences industry. And the list goes on. We have an Agri-Hub. We have sectoral hubs now, which have created and have resulted in wonderful outcomes. People ask me a lot of times when I talk about T-Hub, they talk about how many unicorns. They ask me how many unicorns have come from Hyderabad. They ask me what is the deal flow, what kind of support has your government rendered, etc. Unicorns, big impact, statements are okay, and even the deal flow numbers are also good to talk about. But what we also ought to understand and what we also ought to realize, our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri KTR Garu, whenever I talk to him about any technology, that is upcoming or that is emerging, as Jayesh said, he only has one simple question. He says, how will that help a common man? How will that have positive societal impact? If it is not good for India, if it is only export oriented, or if it is only West oriented, what is the point of having it here? That's the question he keeps asking. So I'm more concerned, I'm more focused on impact. And I'm truly proud and truly happy that the first two space tech startups, the first one which sent the Vikram S rocket in its very first attempt, was a T-Hub startup, and that was from Hyderabad. Skyroot is a company that was incubated in T-Hub, and super proud that in their very first attempt, even Elon Musk's, I think Starlink it's called, SpaceX it is called, even they couldn't pull that off in the very first attempt. They had to, I think, make 3 attempts to actually send a rocket into the space. But our startup from Hyderabad was able to do in its very first attempt, which is a big statement in itself. Likewise, the first nanosatellites, again, were from a Hyderabad startup again, Dhruva. And again, they sent their through a Thibault mission, 2 nanosatellites were put into orbit. And again, that company being from Hyderabad in itself is a huge statement that the startup ecosystem from Hyderabad was making. So I'm more focused on impact. Of course, I'd love to see more unicorns come up. We have 4, but we can do with more. I do believe that there are many Sunicorns, which will become eventually unicorns and hopefully decacons and other bigger things as well. But truly hopeful that this is just the beginning. We have barely scratched the surface. But what gives me even more pleasure, what gives me even more happiness and delight, is the fact that NASSCOM reported that out of the 450,000 jobs created last year in India, in IT sector, for the first time, Hyderabad actually surpassed Bangalore in terms of the total number of jobs in a year that were created. While Hyderabad added 150,000 jobs out of 450,000, which is one third, Bangalore was able to add 146,000. So we crossed them by about 4,000. Now that gives me real happiness, because Bangalore has always been the leader. It's always been the Coke versus Pepsi kind of thing. We were always playing catch up. While we have beaten them quarter by quarter in almost 8 quarters in terms of office space absorption, I think what's even more joyful is that the number of employees who are looking to Hyderabad, the number of employers who are looking at Hyderabad and Telangana is growing. And I sincerely believe and I sincerely feel that this is just the beginning, because we all know the challenges that every single enterprise faces in Bangalore when it comes to expansion. I'm not here to trash Bangalore. I'm sorry if there are any Bangaloreans who feel that way, but I'm not here to trash them. I'm not here to say anything negative about them. But it's equally important because, whenever I meet a prospective investor, the first thing I tell them is, if they are considering multiple cities, I only tell them one thing. Do me a favor, I say, make Hyderabad your last stop. यहाँ आने से पहले आप बैंगलोर जाओ, मुंबई जाओ, दिल्ली जाओ, चेन्नई जाओ, फिर आखिरी में हमारे पास आओ. क्यों? क्योंकि हैदराबाद will sell itself. आप जब ये 4 या 5 शहर जाके यहाँ पे आते हो, automatically you will feel the difference. And I can't name the person I met recently, but somebody who's very big, who I met recently, said the same thing. He said, it's a pleasure to be in Hyderabad. Just getting down from the airport, coming into the city, going around in the city also, such a breeze. He said, kudos to your administration for adding wonderful infrastructure, is what he said. I'm merely paraphrasing. I'm not just patting myself on the back. I'm just paraphrasing. And I hear this very often. I hear this very, very often. Not once in a blue moon kind of thing, but I hear this very often from every industry captain that arrives in Hyderabad. We keep hearing it over and over. That makes me very, very proud. Now, infrastructure, of course, I'll talk about it in a bit. But more importantly, when I spoke about jobs and how Hyderabad added 150,000 jobs in the last, year, what was more exciting for me was an initiative that we launched about 8 years ago again. TASK is a wonderful institution, the Telangana Academy of Skills and Knowledge, works with the industry. In fact, we have trained more than 700,000 students. 7 lakh students over the last 8 years, have in fact 14,000 faculty members in partnership with industry, and since inception in 2014, more than 700,000 students have been trained. And this training is not just in IT alone. It's in the area of life sciences, it's in other disciplines like aerospace and defense, etc. We also, in fact, were focused again in 2014, on the 28th of June, we also made a commitment that we'll improve our digital infrastructure, and toward that we've made some rapid strides of progress this year. In 2023, I assure you, both our T-Fiber, which is providing 100 Mbps connection to in the last mile to every home, 10 million homes in Telangana, will be accomplished. Likewise, in fact, I was pleasantly surprised while I was driving here. I keep complaining to Jayesh and to my team that the Wi-Fi hotspots in Hyderabad, I really don't know where they are, is what I keep complaining. But today when I was driving here, Wi-Fi in my phone was on. So as soon as I passed Sarojini Devi Hospital, a message popped up actually saying, there is a hi-fi hotspot near you, would you like to connect? Just for kicks. Just for kicks I connected. It's not that my 4G is bad. I just connected. And I was able to connect within no time, and the speed was very decent as well. So it tells me that the initiative with 3,000 hotspots spread over the city of Hyderabad has taken off, has been working. And whenever I meet the ACT guys, they keep telling me, sharing me the data of how many terabytes of data has been downloaded, etc., etc. I will not go into the details and bore you with that. But it has been successful, our mission to improve the digital infra. The fourth thing I'll quickly point out to you also is, technology, unless it delivers good services to citizens, it's futile again. So today I can proudly tell you that our Me Seva services, in fact, are the best in the country when it comes to government to citizen services. If you do a per capita, per 1,000 population, we stand number 1 in the country in terms of number of transactions delivered, volumes handled, and most importantly, the value delivered. Telangana is the only state, I don't know how many of you know this, Telangana is the only state where you can renew your driving license on a Sunday sitting at home. If you haven't done it, you should do it. No state in India will allow you to do that. So please do it if you haven't. The second thing I'll tell you is Telangana is the only state in the country which uses facial recognition to renew the pensioners' life certificates. You can just click a selfie, upload it, and you don't need to go to an office and prove that you're alive if you're a pensioner. The third thing we've also done, which I'm also proud of, Telangana is the only state in the country which has also experimented using facial recognition during our law and order events. They use it extensively. Of course, there is always the concern of intrusion into privacy, but I'm sure C.V. Anand Garu and Chauhan Garu and Stephen Garu is well aware of all your concerns, and they'll, of course, not tamper with any of the data. We have also used facial recognition to introduce e-voting. We've done e-voting in one of our local municipalities, because municipal polls are in our hands because that's the state election commission handling. Of course, the national elections are in the hands of Modi ji, so I can't do much there. But local elections, we've actually introduced e-voting. It has actually worked well. As an experiment, as a pilot, we had done it. It has worked well, and of course, I hope that eventually we'll get to that stage like Estonia, where we can give people the access to vote from homes. Because I'm sure most of the IT employees would vote more if you are given that opportunity. Because otherwise, you guys don't show up at a booth. Don't vote. No matter what goods I deliver, no matter how much you appreciate me in social media, you'll not come out and vote. That's my biggest concern. But nevertheless, I think we have done some truly path-breaking things with technology, which are useful to the common man. I'm very proud of it. Likewise, we've also done a few other things. Social infra. Each and every time I talk to a prospective investor, they're always asking me about social infra, saying, is the social infra in Hyderabad good? By social infra, of course, they mean the education, the healthcare facilities, the social life here, etc., etc. I think most of you will agree, if not all of you, that the social infra in Hyderabad has certainly improved. Of course, we still have, I'm sure you still have some complaints of doing excess in some areas and not so much in some other areas. I'm sure there is a fine balance that we all have to find, but we are getting there. When I said that there will be a lot of events happening in Hyderabad, we'll make Hyderabad a happening Hyderabad back in 2014, not many people bought it, but today I see, even day before yesterday in fact, somebody sent me an invite saying there is this group called Agam from Bangalore who is in town. Would you like to come and pay a visit? And this was happening in Gandipet, the new park that we had built there. It was happening in Gandipet. So I'm happy that it's spreading and it's moving out of Hyderabad to the suburbs as well. And I'm delighted that Hyderabad is shaping up rather well. Now coming to the future growth opportunities and what we are focused on, etc. I think one of the requests I have for HICIA, Manisha, I think you should start looking at expanding your horizons beyond Hyderabad as well. Because while we have, Venkat and others who are working in the Kompally area who are looking to push IT in the northern part of Hyderabad, and of course Manisha herself works in the eastern part of Hyderabad, entire Infosys in Pocharam continues to grow and she can vouch for the growth in the eastern part of Hyderabad. We also need to start looking at, areas outside of Hyderabad, beyond Hyderabad, if you ask me. We have, as a government, taken a very calibrated approach. We have created IT hubs in nearly 6 cities already, 6 towns in Telangana. We have already inaugurated the one in Warangal. We've inaugurated one in Khammam, one in Karimnagar. In fact, next month we'll be inaugurating the one in Nizamabad. Next will be Nalgonda, then, Mahbub Nagar, followed by Nalgonda. Then we are looking at others like Siddipet. We're also going to launch one in Ramgundam, and the list goes on. And what's heartening is, honestly, there's a guy called Deshpande, Sanjay Deshpande, runs a company called NTT. One fine day, a friend of mine, Srinivas Reddy Surikanti, he brings Sanjay to me and he says, Anna, Sanjay is actually from Adilabad and he wants to do something there. I said, what do you mean something? He said he wants to open a center. Adilabad, at one point of time, I remember growing up in Hyderabad and Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, was a district where no officer wanted to get posted. It was a punishment district. Nobody wanted to go there because it's like the northern part of Hyderabad, northern part of United Andhra Pradesh. Nobody wanted to go there. It's almost on the border of Maharashtra. But this gentleman, who's a true son of the soil, he's from Adilabad. He said, I want to open a center there and provide local employment. Today, happy to report that we have an IT hub also shaping up in Adilabad. Sanjay has already opened his office. He's given employment to 120 plus people, all locals of Adilabad. And what is even more heartening, like Jayesh said, the BPO, KPO kind of work is not what is getting done there. They're actually doing some really cool, cutting edge stuff. I visited a company called Soft Paths in Warangal, run by, again, a son of the soil, a gentleman called Ravi Chandar. Now, Soft Paths has more than 255 employees in Warangal. So I met almost 50, 60 employees one-on-one in Warangal. I was chatting with them, trying to understand what they're up to. What made me extremely happy and exuberant was all the youngsters who were brimming with confidence. They are working in areas like AI. They're working in very, very advanced, work that you would normally do, probably in Hyderabad or Bangalore. And they seemed rather confident and comfortable. They're working out of their own hometown, and they're working absolutely, fine. And the attrition is much lower. And of course, the aspiration to move to Hyderabad, to Bangalore, to the US is always there. It's always the back of your mind. But if we are able to provide a constant feeder of good quality human resources by way of task, I think there is no question there should be no question in anybody's mind that these tier 2 towns, especially post-COVID, where COVID has shown that you can get your work done from anywhere in the world, be it a village or be it a small town or a medium town or a big town or a city like Hyderabad, I think it goes without saying that the quality of life is that much better. The quality of work is even better. So my humble request to HYCIA, I think the time has come, Manisha, under its first women president, to start reinventing and start thinking beyond Hyderabad, start thinking and charting up plans to ensure that growth also happens in tier 2 towns. In fact, we have an industry veteran, Vijay Rangineni, who used to work at TechM in a very, very senior leadership capacity. We have roped him in, and he's now dedicated to improve our IT in tier 2 towns. So if any of you have any plans, I think please reach out to Vijay. Vijay will ensure that you get all the support that's required. And I have a bone to pick with Rajanna of TCS also. Rajanna actually hails from Warangal. Need I say more? TCS, Rajanagaru, Warangal, I think I'm trying to connect the dots. So please make it happen, because I think it's important for us to understand that, industry leaders like Infi, like TCS, like Wipro, if you lead by example, then all the medium guys, all the smaller guys will also follow suit. So my humble request to the industry captains, I'm meeting Chandra on 12th. I'll surely bring this up. I'll surely ask him how he can also help us, take this to Warangal. We were successful. We have been successful in attracting some names. Genpact has come to Warangal. L&T Mindtree, now I think it's called LT Mindtree. LTIM. They have set up shop. And of course, I'm eternally thankful to Mohan Reddy Garu, who's always been a great guide, a friend, philosopher. I just asked him, I said, sir, you have to lead by example and set up a science center. He was happy, and he started a center in Warangal. And he says the reports are extremely encouraging. We also have had TechM, set up a small center in, Warangal. I'm looking forward to more and more of this happening, because the scope to do more is immense. Likewise, in Karimnagar, Khammam, Nizamabad, Nalgonda, see, today the biggest strength for, I think, IT industry is we really are not tapping into our friends overseas, especially in the US and UK. A lot of those gentlemen and ladies who have origins and roots in Telangana, in Andhra Pradesh, and India, actually have started small and medium enterprises and are looking to expand and looking to set up centers. For them, Hyderabad, in fact, or Bangalore, in fact, might actually end up being a little costlier than they would otherwise imagine. So what I would strongly recommend to my NRI friends who are looking to expand, their footprint in India is start looking at tier 2 towns. Start exploring the opportunities in tier 2 towns, because we have created plug and play facilities. All you need is to walk in, take up space, start creating local employment and local business, and you're only bound to grow. So my humble request to Manisha and HYCIA as well is start thinking beyond Hyderabad, start looking at more opportunities outside of Hyderabad, and let's work together as government and industry to ensure that this actually happens in a seamless fashion. And I'm also looking at many more uh, new things happening in Hyderabad in 2023. We'll have the beautiful facility of T-Works, the largest prototyping facility in the country again. It will be inaugurated this year. We are looking to inaugurate it in the first quarter. We're looking to get an industry leader, industry captain. We are working on schedules. But as soon as that happens, we'll actually do it with some fanfare, and we'll make sure that the entire country understands. You know, the 3D printed gateway towers of Kandla Koya that just was unveiled was a 3D printed model, and we can do many more such things from T-Works, and we can do ventilators. We can do even the Vikram S rocket that was launched by Skyroot. The model of it was also prepared. The prototype was prepared in T-Works. So there's plenty of things that can be done in a maker's lab, in a maker's space, where you can have hobbyists, you can have professionals, you can have amateurs, everybody come in and explore prototyping. We are looking forward to that. Likewise, of course, the expansion of existing facilities, expansion of, in terms of attracting newer investments, our efforts are consistent. Our efforts are continuous. In fact, a lot of people don't understand sales cycles. I mean, I can't blame them. People don't understand sales. The reason why I say that people don't understand sales cycles is because each time I travel on business to Davos or even to the US or any other country, UK or someplace, I'm always asked the question by the press, कि इस बार कितना investment लाया? बस होता ये है कि to develop a connection, to develop a relationship, and to eventually, for it to have to materialize, एक झटके में नहीं हो जाता है. It takes time to build relations, to actually nurture, to actually eventually inspire confidence, and eventually get them to invest. Can't happen overnight or can't happen in one meeting. It's not like मैं इतना शाहरुख खान भी नहीं हूँ मैं जाके कि एक ही बार फ्लोर कर दिया, चाम कर दिया, वो लोग आ गए, ऐसा नहीं. You really have to work at it. You really have to ensure that you inspire confidence. Your city inspires confidence. Whenever I tell people about TSI Pass, all the top 5 tech companies being here, with their second largest base, I keep throwing the names. You've seen me enough. The Apples, Amazons, Googles, Metas, Qualcomm, Salesforce, Uber, Micron, Novartis. The list goes on. All the second largest bases being here. Any new person that I meet, any person I meet for the first time, they're always in disbelief. They're like, okay, is this guy BSing or is he actually, making a factual statement? And then I tell them, listen, if you don't believe me, because I'm a politician, I can't blame you. But I keep telling them, listen, why don't you actually pay a visit to Hyderabad? Aakhe dekh lo, seeing is believing, because I might be talking for a living, but it's also a fact that this work has been done. It is there for you to see. So why don't you please drop in? Point I'm trying to make is to get a new investor, to get a prospective investor, to when you're competing with not just other states but other nations as well, is definitely getting more and more tougher. But Hyderabad, sells itself. Hyderabad definitely has been a fantastic, has seen a fantastic, image makeover, if I may say so, in the last couple of decades. Because wherever I go today, when I tell them that, Hyderabad has recently won the world's best green city award, surpassing Bogota, Paris, and Mexico City and others, they're amazed. They're like, really? Did that really happen? I say, yes, you can go and look in. So when I keep mentioning these things, Hyderabad recently, in fact, day before yesterday, Oxford Economics has reported that Hyderabad will be the fastest growing city in APAC along with Bangalore, surpassing Beijing, Tokyo, and others. A lot of people don't believe it. But the fact is, when JLL rates Hyderabad as a city with the best momentum in the world, most dynamic city in the world, again, I have to sell really hard, because even most of you don't believe it, unless you actually read it, unless you get it validated by somebody else. मैं इसलिए कहता हूँ, अगर हैदराबाद को या तेलंगाना को अप्रिशिएट करना है, तो बाहर जाके आओ, फिर पता चलेगा आपको कि यहाँ क्या हो रहा है. हिंदुस्तान में बाहर जाओ, बैंगलोर जाओ, नहीं बैंगलोर ज़्यादा नहीं बोलना है, बैंगलोर जाओ, बॉम्बे जाओ, दिल्ली जाओ, हर जगह जाओ, फिर वापस आओ, then you will appreciate what I'm saying. So we are focused on ensuring that existing enterprises expand their services, existing enterprises expand their footprint. We are also focused on ensuring our infrastructure continues to grow. Under SRDP, we had started 47 projects. Today, 34 are complete. Show me one other city in India which has done a similar kind of infrastructure work in the last 1 decade. I challenge you, and I'm saying this openly in front of cameras, you can show me any other city in India which has done such humongous work in terms of adding infrastructure to its capacity. Not just road infra. In fact, Hyderabad will be the first city in India to be treating 100% of its sewerage by June this year. 100% of sewerage. Again, no city in India can make a claim like that. Hyderabad also, in fact, will be, again, one among the few cities in India which has taken care of its drinking water woes till the year 2050 because of the investments that we have, put into drinking water space, Mission Bhagirath especially, and with Kaleshwaram, again providing not just water for irrigation but also drinking water for Hyderabad through Konda Puchamma Sagar and Mallana Sagar. I think, again, there are very few cities in India which can make a similar claim. Drinking water is not a concern. Traffic, of course, is a concern. Public transportation. In fact, we're working on Hyderabad Metro, Airport Metro, and we are also looking at phase 2 of Metro. We are looking to expand public transportation, make it more robust, and we want to continue to help our construction industry here as well. We are possibly the only state in the country which provides a single window TSB pass. Like for industries, we provide TSI pass. For anybody who wants to build a house, a small dwelling or a large IT park, we have TSB pass, the Telangana State Building Project Approval Self-Certification System. A very seamless model where all permissions are guaranteed in 21 days. And since I'm also the Minister for Urban Development, I can tell you, if I don't deliver on the 21-day window, on the 22nd day, the construction permission is deemed to have been given. No state in India will tell you this. There's a lot of other complaints that people might have, but I'm also proud that Mercer has been rating us because of all these innovations and policies, because of all the things that we have done in terms of expanding our footprint, not in IT, but not just in IT, but also with our focus on environment. The Harita Haram program has been a huge hit. Our green cover has expanded by 7.7% in the last 8 years. And I'm immensely proud that we have been rated as the most livable Indian city for 5 years in a row, from 2015 until 2020, and then they suspended it because of COVID by Mercer. Again, the list goes on, but what's heartening is, like I said, the number of new jobs added, of course, is something that we can all take pride in. When this new government came in 2014, the total number of IT employment was 3,23,000 directly in the IT sector. Today, it's almost 8.7 lakh employees in the IT sector alone. Show you the kind of humongous growth we've had over the last 8 years. Our IT exports also speak for themselves. It was 57,000 crores in 2014. Today, it's 1,83,000 crores. We are much, much, much above the national average. And we continue to grow, and we look forward to, of course, working with you and the entire industry. The last thing I'll tell you, of course, COVID. And COVID derailed a lot of our plans in terms of growth, in terms of additional investments, etc., because COVID was a huge disruption in the way, especially IT industry used to work, and now how the industry captains and industry leaders think. But I'm of the firm belief that India's journey has just begun. The next 2 decades, India will continue to make its presence felt in technology industry. And like Manisha was pointing out, 5 million jobs over the last 40 years and 3 million jobs over the 2 million jobs over the next 3 years. Now it is upon us. How do we leverage, how do we latch onto that opportunity? Another 2 million jobs coming our way in the next 3 years. How do we latch onto that opportunity? I think one of the most important ways in which we can do it is in a very collaborative model. Possibly, I'm not aware of other governments working so closely with the industry like we do here in Telangana. We have a Cyberabad Security Council headed by our CP, and a joint effort of the industry and our government, multi-stakeholder approach like I was talking about. We also have Rajkonda now having its own security council, and we continue to engage, we continue to work together, and we continue to understand where new opportunities are likely to come up. Of course, a lot of people are also talking about a soft recession in the United States, how business is going to slow down, etc. But I believe, I'm not going to say this, outside of this room, but I believe that in a way, indirectly, I think over the next few years, a lot of new jobs are going to be created in India. It could be somebody else's loss, but I think the opportunity is there for us, to grab and to actually grow. So I request all the industry captains, the delegates of various enterprises here, to point us to the new opportunities, to point us to prospective investors, to start looking at tier 2 towns, start looking at newer technologies, start understanding, start working and guiding us particularly in the way of ensuring that our local youth get bulk of the jobs. Because ultimately every government wants investment primarily for one reason. We'd want to, of course, position Hyderabad as a marquee investment opportunity, but we also want to ensure that the locals get bulk of the jobs. So that's why we have created tasks, that's why we have created a number of other such facilities where we want the local youth to enroll, to work with you. I'm also, in fact, we're working very closely to see how the academic industry partnership can be forged. One of the things Jayesh and I have been working on, we have a wonderful institute called as the Triple IT at Basra. It's also called as RGUKT. I've visited this wonderful institution where we have nearly 9,000 very bright youngsters who study there. We are looking to see how the IT hub at Nizamabad can actually potentially become an opportunity for them to give them some innovation space there, and can become a platform for them to also start looking not just job opportunities, just to be job seekers, but also to actually start working out on their own ideas. So maybe to start forging those kind of partnerships, to start partnering with a college in Nalgonda or a Karimnagar or Nizamabad or Khammam. I think industry needs to start taking a slightly different approach, to start engaging with this youngsters, internships, apprenticeships, practice school kind of options, etc. Because I think it's important, for you to also lower your attrition and also to ensure that you engage with potential employees at a very, very early stage. I think that will help both the local students and also the enterprises. So many more such thoughts, but I really, really sincerely thank ICEA for taking the time out. And also, lastly, I think the reason why we hosted this in Thrill City is because we also wanted you to kind of take a look around, because I know that your children or even your employees could possibly once in a while take a break, go around, have a retreat in a place like this where you could mix both business and pleasure. So please do go around. There is lunch and everything else organized. So please do take a few minutes out of your busy schedule, go around, explore the place, and please do also come back and give them some business as well. Thank you very much. Jai Telangana.
Thank you, sir. So the context is set. How do we move out to tier 2 towns? That's, I think, the 2.0 of the growth for Telangana in the IT sector. And also, how do we sustain the growth in Hyderabad? How do we keep the companies happy? So to that extent, we organized this interactive session. Representatives from the government are here. I would just quickly like to introduce you so that you can ask questions. And we have Mr. Raghukumar Reddy, who is the CMD of TSSP DCL, or the Power Corporation. And we have the three commissioners of police,